What's up, y'all? Kofi Kingston here, and I would love to have a drink with Wrestling on the Rocks, depending on what that drink is, preferably non-alcoholic, you know?
How's it going? I'm Celtic Warrior James.
Soda.
I would love to have a drink with Wrestling on the Rocks.
Maple syrup.
Bella.
I would never have a drink with Wrestling on the Rocks.
Welcome to the dive bar of the IWC. Welcome to Wrestling on the Rocks, episode 1. Again, I'm at Ref Marsh for your WTR the show. And this is Thursday Night Chaser with my co-host, Miss AmandaJayne. What's going on?
Oh, it's the huge. It's a really weird week, and I'm ready for it. There's some really great wrestling. Some not so great wrestling.
Yeah, this was a weird one. I felt like every show had like hits and misses pretty. Like, I don't think I walked away from either NXT or AEW feeling completely like, what a banger that show was. You know what I mean? Both shows
Exactly.
I was all like, okay.
Yeah, that's how I felt. That's how I totally felt. And I don't know, maybe because I think this was the first time in, I don't even know, quite a long time that NXT was really meh. And it's kind of sad because it was that 2.0 anniversary. So.
Yeah, I don't know. Felt a little weird. Did feel a little bit weird.
Yeah,
Justin Time's coming through saying cheers to the dive bar.
Cheers, Mr. Justin.
Speaking of cheers, I'll tell you up front what I'm having. I'm having Capacagna. I'm having some of the Cabernet by Carmela's Wine, Capacagna. If you go to capacagna.com, you can order yourself up some of your own. This is like the old label. They got a new label now with like much more floral. That's pretty cool, but classic labeling. We keep it around. Nice. We age it. It's really good stuff. Really smooth.
Nice.
You had some too, didn't you?
Yes, I did. And, let me tell you, if you go to Sonic and buy, sponsored, not sponsored, buy the plain slush with nothing in it, just the slushy thing that's like, it's a little sugary. And you put some of the wine in. Oh, it's very good.
Yeah.
Very good. I will tell you. Huge fan. And especially if you had when they did, I think it was last year, when they did the kind of like faux alcoholic ones, like the fuzzy navel, the sangria, which I really think there was some alcohol in those because they did taste like there was alcohol in them. But
nice.
You could recreate your own.
Awesome. That sounds awesome. Sounds great.
Yep.
We've been keeping an eye on it. We want to get more, but we didn't go get more wine. So we try to always keep at least one of each bottle there, but they haven't restocked their mix pack. So we're wondering when the next little batch is going to open up. But we keep an eye on it. What are you drinking? What's in your glass?
I'm just starting with regular Coke, but I think we're going to bring out some soju in a little bit. I don't want to start with the soju because if not, then maybe halfway through this whole thing, I might be drooling and on the keyboard and you'll just see the top of my head. So, yeah. So, gotta try to keep it, a little,
Yeah.
somewhat sober for now.
Do you want to tell us the birthdays, and then we'll get into some of this
Abs-
news dropping?
Absolutely. And there was one I forgot last week for yesterday. So my New Japan friends, if you are a member of the Bread Club, and if you know what I'm talking about, you definitely know who I mean. The leader of the Bread Club, the ever loving Satoshi Kojima, and I totally did that wrong, but Kojima, I know how to say. He had a birthday yesterday, so happy birthday. I hope it was filled with lots of different types of bread. Yes. And it is not appropriate to throw bread at him if he's doing a New Japan show in the States. Don't throw bread at him. Please don't. Same with Shikeshita. Don't throw cinnamon rolls at him. He'll even tell you, just give it to me beforehand or after. So, weight of his heart is a cinnamon roll. I'm bringing him some cinnamon rolls. So when I see him in November. But anyways, birthdays. All right. So let's wish, first of all, happy birthday today, Teddy Long.
Yep. Holla holla.
Yep. Holla holla, player. Happy birthday, man. One of the baddies, Kira Hogan, celebrating a birthday. Happy birthday. With her big old long blue nails and her long blue hair and whatnot. You either love this guy or you hate him. We obviously know how I feel about this guy. Happy birthday, Jim Cornette.
Oh, yeah, happy birthday.
Very controversial figure, but we will wish you a happy birthday. I do it I don't want to say protest, but I do it just, you're not one of my favorite people. Let's see here. We've got, I don't know, were you an all red everything person? I sure was not.
Not really, but on her last run where it was like pink and all that, I think she did a really good job of leaning into her character and leaning into the internet hate. Like she kayfabed really well. And so I was impressed what she was able to do around her without her ability, because she obviously wasn't going to carry in-ring matches to classics, you know what I mean? But she does enough character work on such a good level that, I mean, Dewdrop is still very popular and still called Dewdrop because of a lot of work that was put in early on. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's true. Very, very true. But girl, happy birthday from your old stomping grounds in Cocoa County. She actually born and raised not that far from where I live and not that far from where I work. So happy birthday. Renee Young. Happy birthday. Happy birthday. Still love that tweet. Still love that tweet she sent out to Ty Mello. Keep your cheap ass shoes off my husband. Yep. Nice to know you recognize that they're cheap shoes. Yeah, they are kind of cheap there, girl. I'll agree with you on that one, Renee. I do like Renee. I enjoy her.
Yeah, but Bogo's a good deal, man.
Yeah.
Get one. It's a good deal.
Yeah, totally. Arn Anderson's having a birthday this week.
Very cool.
Happy birthday, Mr. Arn. Greg the Hammer Valentine, another one from childhood. I remember seeing him at a con recently, and he looked kind of rough. Well, recently was like, I'll say 2.5 years, maybe. No, 3, more like 3. Looked kind of rough.
Yeah, he goes to a lot of those, and it's kind of funny that people give the issue with like Lonely Virgil at the cons, because I feel like Grumpy Hammer is the whole
Grumpy Hammer.
Yeah, he always looks grumpy.
He does. He always looks like he's in a bad mood and doesn't want to be there. Well, then don't be there, bro. Don't be there. It's okay. Nobody, no one's putting a gun to your head. I would like to say that I think he's on Impact now, but former ROH superstar Rhett Titus, happy birthday. He's really good people, so wish him the best over there. Another one that is having a birthday. It looks like hold on, Ricky Morton. God damn, I love the Rock and Roll Express. I know they're hanging it up soon, or maybe is it just as a team they're hanging it up? Or
they can't keep going, but yeah, it's one or the other.
Yeah, Yeah, I'm really glad that we got to see them when we went to NWA. I'm really, really happy that I got to see them say that. Because of all the years I've gone to WrestleCon, they've never wrestled at WrestleCon that I've gone to. So yeah, so I thought that was really great that I was able to see them.
Yeah, that was cool. And a great
Yeah, I
team
thought
that
it was.
they lost
Mhm.
to as well.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Um, Another person who's having a birthday. Let me go through my little list here because I don't want to forget people. That's so rude of me. I'm saving one for last. Well, these are people I don't know who they are. Girl from Japan, and I don't recognize the names. So finally, I'm gonna wish someone a very happy birthday who I'm a huge fan of. I'm not a fan of the way he's being booked again, but he, he did work with Stokely before, so they have a history. So happy birthday, all ego Ethan Page. That'll be some good that I'm excited to see him versus Miro. Or wait, no, Miro doesn't have the. Wait, which title does Miro have?
Miro doesn't have any title.
Oh wait, I'm thinking. Never mind. Pac has the All Atlantic one, right? Why did I think Miro had that? I don't know. I'm on
Yeah, but
crack.
Ethan's not going for that either. Orange Cassidy's going for that title, and
No,
Ethan Page is gonna go for the fucking against Danhausen.
no. But when Stokely did that promo yesterday,
Oh
I
yeah.
thought that was what his sights are. But he's getting Danhausen first of all,
Yeah.
which you know,
All right.
yeah. But whatever. Either way, happy birthday, Ethan Page, Julian, as played by Julian. I still really wish that. Um, I hate seeing him in this like faction bullshit kind of things, and you know, and I really do miss the North. Said it on episode 1. And I'll say it till my last breath. I miss the North.
Hmm.
And happy birthday, everybody. I'm loving we're getting toward October because there's lots of October birthdays. Yeah. Yeah. Winking.
That's suspicious.
Yeah, I know it was very suspicious.
It's real suspicious.
Very suspicious.
Yeah.
But they're
Just
a lot
time
better.
in the chat, he does say that he would pay money to watch Renee beat up Tay, which
I would too.
yeah,
Shall we start a fund? I mean, part of me has always said that if I ever won like an obscene amount of money in like a lottery or I got an obscene amount of money, I've always I wanted to book a show. Obviously with the people that I want to see, but have some of these really like funky matches. That would be one of them. That would be one of them.
That would be great. He also says all Virgil wants is Olive Garden breadsticks and meat sauce, dude. Don't forget the meat sauce.
Yeah, don't forget the meat sauce.
Let's see. Bishop says, cheers. He's going to be listening while cleaning the house. Sorry to Thunder Rosa for stealing the gimmick. That's true. That's Thunder Rosa's thing.
Yeah, that is Thunder Rosa's thing.
And just in time said what I was thinking and going to wait to say because we'll get there. We said, God, that Stokely promo was really bad and confusing. It was a rough patch.
There was a lot of bad and confusing promos that, yeah.
Yeah. And then Bishop does say the North needs to go to WWE, dominate, then become single stars. That's terrible wrestling takes for you, buddy.
Yeah.
That's what they
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. But I will say this. Okay. Ethan Page, was in that whole Evolve clique that where you got a lot of the people like during the times of Chris Hero and, Gunther and, Zack Sabre Jr., all those guys, right? But obviously he didn't catch Hunter's eye for whatever reason. Why, I don't know. But yeah.
So I get the impression there's something more to it too. Because that's the other thing is when he first showed up in AEW, I mean, when he first showed up, it wasn't the world of the bloated roster at the time. Like it was right at the getting to that point, right? And so the thought was like, oh, he'll really be able to get to shine. He's gonna be able to talk. He's gonna start doing all these things. And I kept hearing all this stuff about what makes him so good.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like I see and hear less about him now than ever before in his career. Like, So I don't know. I mean, people tell me he's very good, and I trust that they believe that, but I have seen nothing in the past probably 2 years that's made me think that.
Yeah.
It's not intended to be a knock on the guy, but
Yeah.
I've seen nothing. I mean, think about it too. Like, what was it, 2, 3 weeks ago? He came out and he cuts that promo saying, "Oh, I'm gonna get my TV time now. I'm sick of sitting back there and not getting my time," and cut that weird promo. And then like, all right, now you're off TV for 2 months. It's like, what?
Yeah.
I don't know.
No, it's weird. And it's like, it's sad because, he moved his whole family from where he was at, like outside of Toronto. Like I think he lived like an hour outside of Toronto. And he moved them to the States. And it's like, for what? You're not really doing much. I mean, I think the whole Dan Lambert really hurt him,
Yep.
hurt Scorpio Sky. It hurt both of them.
Yeah, it's
And
destroyed Scorpio Sky. Where's he
yeah,
at now?
he's injured, isn't he?
All right.
Well, I thought he hasn't been around, but I
I'll
mean,
believe you.
I don't know. I mean, if you only like certain people, that's who you're gonna see.
Yeah.
So, I'm accustomed to that because obviously, whatever. But I don't know. Is what it is. But I feel bad for him. Now I think he did wrestle the other last weekend or the weekend before that maybe at the Mall of America for First Wrestling. That's Eric Cannon's promotion. That looked kind of cool because, man, 4 levels of mall looking down at a wrestling ring, that's fucking cool. Or 3 levels, I don't know. I've never been to the Mall of America.
Thank God they didn't book Luke Hawk.
Or Janela jumping off
Or
the
Janela. That's what I'm saying. Well, because Luke got famous from jumping off that 1-story mall.
Yeah.
If they put him in a 4-story, he'd be like, I bet I could do it.
No, Janela, yeah. You know who would also try to jump off of it would be Sammy Guevara, but for some reason, I don't know. Tony Khan's like, no, don't do that. They won't even let him jump off a cage like to practice when they have it. Just let him do it. Let him kill himself. It's okay. You might be better off. Darby
probably would. So.
Well, Darby would actually, I mean, that'd be safer. But when you're showing him going to, I guess there's some BMX thing. I don't know what it was, but some like X Games looking shit. And then he's like I didn't realize it was him on the bike. And then all of a sudden when he takes his helmet off, and I'm like, you're going to die. Okay. We're going to see one of these things and it's not going to be good, dude. I don't know what the hell Tony's problem is, but no, dude, weird. We don't. Yeah. It's too weird. It's too weird. Yeah.
But cheers to all the birthdays. Cheers.
And Colt Cabana was on that show.
The mall one? Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he always wrestles at First Wrestling.
I think it'd be cool to go to, but yeah. Well, let's talk AEW since we're already like in it. Might as well.
Yeah.
I pulled up the Rampage results and yeah, did you even watch Rampage?
Kind of.
Yeah, there's nothing on there that looked like worth talking about unless you tell me there was.
No.
All right. Oh, did it say Samoa Joe was going to talk? What's Samoa Joe doing?
Well, Samoa Joe kind of, came out and, it was really weird because it was almost like the crowd didn't really know who Samoa Joe is or why he's important. But
maybe it was also 10 hours of TV. They record for a long time. It could have just been towards the tail end, and it could have just been like, okay, we get it.
It could be, but but I would think because they're over in, if I'm not mistaken, weren't they on the East Coast in that ROH land over there?
Yeah, but I'm just saying I don't know that it's that they didn't know. They might have just not have been as excited. They might have been a little blown out as a crowd.
Well, that's why they need to come to the West Coast because everyone's bored of that shit. As we announced the 1 millionth Chicago show yet again,
So
I'm like,
did Samoa Joe? So I saw that Samoa Joe's got a match next week or this Rampage, I think, where he's tagging with Hook. Did that happen here on this Rampage or no? Like, did that conversation start here? Did Hook come out or anything?
Not with Samoa Joe.
Okay. Because now we have Hook
Yeah.
versus Hook and Samoa Joe teaming up against 2 other people. I don't know who, but
I didn't know that was even happening. That's weird.
okay.
Okay.
All right. Well,
That's very random because Hook, they showed a training montage and he was with the big white guy,
yeah.
Action Jackson or whatever his
Yeah.
name is. Yeah, and
He's
they're
got a
supposed
match
to be
coming up.
yeah, they're supposed to be doing something next week at the Arthur Ashe thing, but I don't know. But
I could have sworn someone posted about it.
I don't know, it's weird.
All right. Well,
Yeah.
I think you're right because I do think there's that. Maybe it's on Dark or something. I don't know. But apparently they're
Who
teaming or
knows?
something. I don't know.
Why
It
waste
didn't
that
make
on
any
Dark?
sense.
Why are you wasting Samoa Joe on Dark? Oh wait, that's a Tony Khan booking. Never mind. I digress. Never mind.
Yeah. Yep.
But they're sure. I will say this. This is a takeaway. They're sure pushing ROH lately. Throwing the name out there. ROH. Because I think he's facing who? Josh Woods, I think. Yeah. I think so. Which I like Josh Woods, don't get me wrong.
Oh yeah, Joe's facing Josh Woods on Rampage coming up.
Yeah. But I think the thing is, Tony, I know he's waiting for a deal. Okay. But after what happened backstage and All Out and all this shit, I don't think that people are going to be tempted to want to pull the trigger on another one of his shows.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. But I'd like to see more ROH. I mean, New Japan was in their stomping grounds over in Vegas at Sam's Town. And I'm not saying, I want ROH because, I would love for them to go back to some of those old venues that they used to go to. Yeah, Vegas was always a fun time, twice a year. Always a good time.
Yeah,
but,
I'm not seeing the match. I think it might have been someone fantasy booking or something, but maybe not. It's just hard to tell when they do so much stuff on other shows and it's just buried and stuff. It's hard to see what's even and when they have all these nonsensical pairings and storylines anyways, it's impossible to discern people making jokes or making their own graphics and it being real.
You get a lot of these role players who are like role playing whoever. I don't know how you role play on Instagram. I don't get that. But they do that quite a bit,
Yeah.
But I will say this, as a person who does fantasy book quite a bit, I've had many a booking actually come into fruition. So I'm not saying continue to do it, but you never know.
I don't know if someone just made the graphic or not. It's just impossible to tell.
It could have but I was gonna say, what does Hook have to do with Samoa Joe?
That's what I was asking. So Justin does say Rampage, not worth talking about. No surprise. He goes talk about bad crowds. Albany last night was pretty bad. He goes, the only thing I know about Hook teaming with anybody is Action Bronson with Friday. Yeah. Well, let's talk the show then. It did open up with Moxley and Guevara, right? Yeah, that was right away.
Mm-hmm. But do we want to rewind before that happened and that really shitty promo?
That's part of this whole thing. Yeah, the lead into the match was Sammy Guevara rattling off like a screeching little child about a bunch of nonsensical shit online. And I saw some people tweet it out and they're like, oh, look at Sammy really going off the rails here. And oh man, Sammy's off the handles. And then the rest of everyone else was like, this is really bad, right? It's not just me. And I had no intention of watching it until I finally saw like a couple people in a row say like, this was much worse than I anticipated it being. Like, even with people saying it was going to be bad, I didn't think it was this bad. And then when I watched it, I thought, it's not even like you could prepare yourself for how bad it actually is. It was so bad. This was like middle school wrestling promo. It was awful. I don't know how you cut that and then you go, yep, that's good. Put that out. The world should see that.
He thinks he's so full of himself, and his wife is obviously full of him too.
Gross.
In more ways than one. That's just gross, period. Because talk about someone who's not attractive. Anyway, beauty is in the eye of the beholder, and I do not behold any of that shit. But anyways, Um, I don't know. It was bad. I mean, I think a lot of people right now think that they're like Ricky. They can be Ricky Starks, okay, and have this fueled anger. But even sometimes with Ricky, it's a miss.
Mm-hmm.
It's his thought that one promo, the last one he cut with that kind of it's like that was not that great.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's rare when you don't have a good promo, but that really was not that great. So I don't know why everyone, there's this bratty entitlement kind of thing going on in the promos, and
Yeah.
it's kind of stupid.
It was stupid and it was really bad.
Yeah.
It was poorly
But then
put together.
again, I'm also the same person who's saying, okay, this guy fat shames Eddie. Eddie punches him in the mouth, which anyone probably would have. I would have done it too. I actually probably would have strangled the guy like Homer Simpson and Bart, like, yeah. But he gets, no punishment. But he gets a title match a match in a tournament for a title, where the same person already had said some not very sensitive things before and had sensitivity training. You would think they would have learned something.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know. Is he making Ty Mello blow Tony? Is he doing is he doing the dust with Tony? I don't know. I really wish people would see some of these inconsistencies and the favoritism, because that's not how you book a show.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't understand the booking of Sammy, but he's one of those favored people, is all.
He's
The
a
match
pillar.
itself, though, was like, it was okay. I didn't think it was going to be very good going into it, but it actually wasn't bad. Like, they worked out pretty well together, better than I expected, and then the whole thing kind of falls to pieces when they try to have their overbooked finish like they always do.
Mm-hmm.
But just one-on-one, Sammy and Mox had a pretty decent chemistry together.
I
I was
really
kind of
wanted him to
impressed.
kill him, but that was just me.
Is that your commentary on the match?
Yep. Well, no. The other part of it too was Sammy's always bitching about the back of his head looks like a map because he's had so many stitches and whatever, of course, to his own doing. I was waiting for Moxley to split his head open. There's another one.
Mm-hmm.
But didn't happen.
Mm-hmm. Let's see. Moxley wins.
Thank God. I was getting worried there for a minute. I was like, please no. Please no. But then, of course, it's set up what I think you had said on episode 1.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I called it from the second I saw it. But all his tournaments are like that. All of his tournaments are always in a way where he shows you the bracket and you know exactly who the last two are going to be and you know exactly who's going to win in that match. Like, Tony's never done a thing that was a surprise.
So who's winning this one then?
Between Mox and Daniel Bryan? Well, if you've got MJF coming out the other side, I guess the thing that it would make the most sense for it to be Daniel Bryan, but Tony might be absolutely in love with Mox right now because of everything going on, and the idea of it going back on the Mox is not a shock. But I don't see you giving MJF the chip at this point without the intention of having him win the title. Like, how many times will MJF lose his chance at the title? This is going to be his third chance, right? For a title match?
Yeah.
Third one? Because, like, you can't have him lose every title match when he's your most popular person in the company right now. And it happens right after here, right? MJF, they make some sort of stupid thing in the back. Oh my God, MJF's in the back. He's demanding a microphone. Better stay tuned. What's going to happen next? You're like, what's going to happen next? He's going to come out and talk. Like, what do you? It's the MJF promo segment that we get every week. What are you talking about? It's always segment 2. What do you mean? What's going to happen? I feel like AEW needs a Kevin Owens out there to be like, am I the only one who watches this? Am I the only one who pays attention? Of course the ref's going to come out right now. You know what I mean?
Head out of your ass.
Yeah. Get your head out of your ass, Shivani. But so MJF comes out. I liked his promo. I think he does bad heel work. And I don't mean that he does a bad job of staying in character. But he's not a clever heel. He's not a clever bad guy. And the crowd loves him so much that they kept cheering for him and chanting him. And because he's not great at being an actual heel bad guy and he's a play heel, and it's very, very clear, he doesn't know what to do other than to yell, "Shut up," or "You guys are ugly." He pointed at a dude and called him fat. The camera pans to the dude and he's flexing, and the dude's bigger than like half the roster. Like, the dude wasn't fat at all. He was jacked. And he's like flexing at MJF, like, "What are you talking about?" And you're like, "That's a good point. What are you talking about, MJF? This dude's really quite fit in comparison to your entire locker room." So it was just also weird and misplaced. That's what I mean. Like, he's not good at being clever or getting the crowd upset. The
Not
crowd
in
only
that way.
boos him because they're supposed to. You know what I mean? He says, "I hate this town," and they go, "Boo." But if you watch other heels like Corbin's and even Roman and like, you can watch them do the stuff where they come out, the crowd's cheering, and they say a thing that makes them go like, "Oh, what a dick." No one thinks that about MJF. They go, "Ha ha ha, he said the fat joke again."
But I will say this, okay? He is not a clever heel, but he's clever in other ways. Real example here. He conned me into buying one of his shirts at an indie show.
Yeah, because
How
he's
the fuck
nice.
that? No, it wasn't him being nice.
Yes,
That's
it was.
the thing.
Playing a character to someone who expects you in character is playing nice. When you go to
No,
Disneyland,
I wasn't expecting to be in character. No, I wasn't expecting that.
everyone's expecting
It's
that,
like,
Amanda. You'd be the only
no.
person in the world who didn't expect that, because that's his whole gimmick, is that he stays in gimmick.
Well, I know that he stays in gimmick, but it was funny because he was watching me talk to his quote unquote father.
Yeah.
Colt Cabana. And he was like, "So why are you bugging my dad?" And I'm like, "That's none of your damn business."
Yeah.
And we were just talking and whatever. And I don't know how he guilt tripped me into buying a shirt. But I actually, in hindsight, I'm like, because I complimented the shirt. I said, "I think it's great that you have fake Burberry on your t-shirt," because it looked like you were wearing a fake Burberry scarf. And it's better than you. And I'm like, "Yeah, with your fake Burberry." I'm like, "Oh, that's great." Haha. But I got conned into buying a shirt. But hey, you know what? I mean,
because he's Mickey Mouse.
No, I wouldn't call him Mickey Mouse.
Yes,
like
he
Goofy.
is.
No, he's not
AEW
Mickey
Mouse for sure.
No,
when you
he's
go
not.
to Disneyland and you bump into Mickey Mouse and you hand him a marker, he signs Mickey Mouse, and you go, "Hot damn, that was great," because it's a fucking random kid in a random costume. Like, he's playing Mickey Mouse. And MJF does the same thing.
I know that.
Bishop makes a good point. He's laughing. He says, "Amanda trying to say she didn't get worked while describing the work." It's true.
Yeah, I totally got worked. I totally
you got worked, and that's
totally
fine.
I totally got worked. But but he was
the
clever
point.
in
That's
how
the
he
hope.
did it, though.
Yes.
What I'm saying is he was clever in how he did it. Yeah.
Yes.
I know he's the guy that he lives the character. Then there's some people who, you're like, "Oh, he's living the character. He's the character." Punk? No, the guy's a fucking asshole.
Yeah.
Here's the difference.
Justin does says this was probably the most pointless MJF promo. Him bringing up the Mox alcoholism while Mox had been sober made MJF look dumb. Plus, he kept trying to get cheap heat way too much. Yeah, that's what I mean. He was only going for cheap heat.
Fat.
I actually I think I retweeted it this past week. There was someone had posted the first time a mascot was ever thrown out of a baseball game by Tommy Lasorda from the Dodgers. Got pissed and called him and called the umpire over and was like, "Get him out of here," because the mascot was sleeping on top of the dugout, saying that those guys were boring. Right?
Oh,
mascots are hysterical.
What mascot was this?
I don't know. I didn't recognize him. He was a weird looking mascot. He looked kind of like he looked like a giant Muppet. It was great, but he was like an orange thing with like a big nose. He looked almost like a Gorg from the Fraggles, but like thinner necked. It was just weird. I don't know who he was, but I'm sure someone knows.
Oh, when you said orange, I was hoping that it was Crazy Crab or some bullshit like that, because Crazy Crab was around.
So Lasorda gets him thrown out, and what's great is you see the mascot get up, and the mascot knowing, it's just a dude in a giant costume, right? And that's MJF. MJF is this dude in a costume. He is Mickey Mouse. He is a mascot. He stays in character and gimmick, and you laugh at it. So this dude's in the mascot thing, gets all upset, but like he's sad upset. So he's hanging his head low. He's like shrugging his shoulders all big, like, like getting all upset. And you see Lasorda, the camera cuts back over to him, and you see him turn around. He's like, "Yeah, you better get out of here, you stupid son of a bitch." It was so fucking funny to watch a coach get so mad at a mascot. But that's what I mean. And Kuro's in the chat. MJF was firewood without fuel. MJF's out there playing a character, and it's so heavily a character that the only problem with me with this promo is he starts with the difference between me and Mox is I'm not playing a character, and Mox is. Yeah, and then he might as well finish the whole thing with a bow and said, "You're welcome, everybody." Acting? Like, MJF is as phony as it gets.
Aaron Stevens. Yeah, Aaron Stevens.
Yeah. Which is also fine because that's what people are paying to see. People want to see Mickey Mouse.
I don't.
And they cheer him like he's Mickey Mouse. And then he goes, "Oh, I want them to start booing." So he literally would call out the town and they would cheer more. Because they're like, "Yay, that's the gimmick. He says mean things. Get it?" Ah.
Well, maybe they don't have him come out to if they ever do San Francisco or Oakland, someone might shoot him.
No, they wouldn't. They would hug him. Amanda, I don't think you get it. They love him because his character. It's like when you go to the restaurants
but
where
you're
it's all
also
like
you're kind of like in the ghetto, you know. The
ghetto
person
expects
there.
him.
No,
He's
the ghetto
not
only
doing
really
anything unexpected. It's like when you go to the restaurants where it's like the gimmick of this restaurant is the waiters are really rude to you, and then people like
that
record
restaurant.
Yeah, that's MJF. He's the one everyone laughs at because he's calling you a name. Like, he did the thing where he calls me fat. Meh. So clever. He's such a good heel. He's the biggest babyface on their roster right now. And what I'm saying is I don't know if that means he can suffer a ton of losses going for that title. So we have to figure out, are they willing to give Mox the loss to MJF? Or are they willing to give Daniel Bryan the loss to MJF? And I'll be honest, Daniel Bryan's got a lot more losses under his belt since coming to AEW than Mox.
Yeah. That shocks me.
Yeah. Which then begs the question, not that Tony would ever think about it, but could Mox suffer a loss to a Daniel Bryan who's lost a lot only for Daniel Bryan to lose again? Mm-hmm. Or would it be better for Mox to win and one of his few losses is against an MJF? You know what I mean?
Yeah, no. I really think that maybe, because Mox did say in that one promo he was going to go on vacation. So maybe that's the justification of, okay, he'll lose one because.
Yeah, he needs that vacation.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And I'm sure they'll do a whole bunch of stupid shit behind the ref's back and make it look like whatever, like they did in this match. Justin says, just look it up. The mascot got thrown out was the Expos mascot. There you go.
Mm-hmm.
Just in time coming through with the Grim Reaper type knowledge. But yeah, so MJF cuts this big long promo and then fucking brings out Stokely. He starts putting over Stokely real hard. And then Stokely comes out and drags on. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. What'd you think of all this?
Well, what I did like, it was like thank you, Tony, for dumbing it down for people who don't know who Stokely Hathaway is, don't know the relationship, whatever. I thought that was great. Because I'm pretty sure Tony really didn't know who Stokely Hathaway was. All he knew, he was from WWE and they parted ways.
Yeah.
That's all he knew, you know?
Yeah, probably.
So, yeah, I'm like, okay, and then you bring out your whole thing. So I guess they did sign Big Cass. Oh, I'm sorry, Morrissey. God, talk about we don't need another fucking big guy that's stupid. No offense, Jake Hager. Doesn't say shit. No use for you, dude.
Yeah.
No, there's no use for you. If you maybe put on a Triceratops suit and fought with Luchasaurus, that might be kind of cool. But no. Not interested.
Like
not interested.
Yeah, the irony is that it's W Morrissey and it's more like an L.
I knew that was coming.
It was tucked away.
And then the ass. Oh, I'm sorry, not ass boys anymore. They're ass men.
The ass man.
That's dumb.
Yeah,
You know who else was up there?
I
Oh, Lee
based-
Moriarty. Why?
Yeah.
Why? Run far away, Lee Moriarty. You're so much more talented. Now, I've been asking myself this question, and I'll ask you this, Marsh. Would you say if you were to look at a Lee Moriarty and a Daniel Garcia, who is one for you that's more interesting to watch? And you can kind of get behind a little bit more so.
I mean, it's hard to say because I haven't seen almost any Lee Moriarty at all. So he's very static to me. He's been on AEW TV like twice. And he doesn't say anything. He's never shown any form of character or charisma whatsoever. So if I had to pick between him and Daniel Garcia, well, Daniel Garcia is the only character that I know at all. I don't like him, but he's the only one I know. Like, as far as I can get behind, sure, I've seen enough of his matches to know that it's probably going to be a decent match. With Lee Moriarty, I don't know who the fuck he is. I don't know if he's any good. I've seen him a couple times. He walks out there with headphones on, so I don't know if he even cares that he's there. He's got a very much like a Hook essence about him without the tough guy kind of thing. Which is also fine. It's probably like an introverted thing that he's doing and whatever, but it's not enough for me to get attached to at this point. If he never came back, I would have forgotten that he was even signed. You know what I mean? Like, he's been on so little.
Yeah.
Which is not
I
his fault.
Yeah. I mean, I think maybe I'm taking it because I've seen both of them live quite a bit. I've seen Lee Moriarty live more so than him being on AEW, but
I will say I've seen, if you want me to base it off of non-AEW television, Lee Moriarty is a much more interesting interview than Garcia. I've seen a bunch of interviews of both of them because of some of the jobs I've had. And I never looked forward to getting another Garcia interview come across my table.
Because he's dry. Right. Because it's pretty
full of
dry.
ego.
Yeah.
He's all ego and like, for as much as
He's
Punk wanted
good.
to shit on Paige for being too egotistical to say he doesn't need help, Garcia's been saying that for years. Since before he signed AEW, he was like, "Yeah, I'm main event ready. I don't need to listen to anybody." And you're like, "Oh my god."
Well, first time I saw him, he was certainly not.
Yeah, he still isn't.
Yeah,
but he thinks he is, so it's fine.
No. There's other people coming up that are better.
I also thought that between the two promos back to back, I didn't even get halfway through Stokely's before I was just like over it and left the room. It was just boring and long, and I'd already just heard MJF say a relatively long promo too.
I just felt sad. I felt sad for Ethan Page.
Yeah,
he doesn't deserve the shit shit booking.
Yeah, and then they did and then in the back they showed Luigi Primo making his pizza, and Ethan Page did a absolutely horrible kick to Luigi where he made zero connection, and it was clear as day. And then Luigi fell over like a kid pretending to fall over. It was a really bad sell as well. It was a mess. I was like, what are we doing? Like, did no one... Is this not a pre-tape? Like, they should do more pre-tapes that look live, and they should redo them until they look
Yeah,
right.
Marvez was just like, okay. You could look on and say, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. I didn't even know who this pizza guy was. It must be an East Coast thing.
Oh, Justin says the whole we're a faction when MJF needs us and not when he doesn't is so dumb. No point for this faction to even exist if that's the case. Was that the idea of the firm, that they're only a unit when MJF needs them? Like I said, I got spaced out on it pretty early. He's a friend who has a network and connections to make anything and everything happen, and you wish you had a friend like him. All right. Yeah, I don't know, man. This was a mess. You tell me what you think about it, because I'll be honest, after that, we got to Jungle Boy versus Jay Lethal, and I paid so little attention to it. The Hook and Action Bronson training video I did watch and thought it was pretty cool. It's put together well. It looked good. I don't know that makes me excited for the match, but I like the video.
Yeah, the video was nice. I was like, oh, did Ricky Starks direct this?
Oh, dude, after last week with Action Bronson and hearing about him and stuff and realizing I had no idea who the fuck he was, and apparently he's a rapper.
Oh, I didn't know that either.
No, so I pulled up some of his biggest hits. Don't waste your time. It was awful, and he sounds terrible, and all of it was like middle school shit and recorded. It was,
Well,
I mean, the production was poor too. It was crazy bad. I don't understand how he's popular for that thing. But I will say, in this world, him teaming with Hook and him training, he looked like a badass. And he sounded tough. And I was like, this is, like, I could latch onto an Action Bronson as a wrestler in this environment.
yeah.
But I'll never listen to another one of his songs ever again.
No. This is Tony's Bad Bunny.
Is this Bad Bunny? So Bad Bunny's like, I mean, it's all in Spanish, but it sounds good.
I don't know. A lot of these modern people, I have no idea who the hell they are. No clue at all, you know. So I don't know. All I know is that, like, I think probably this will probably make me really old. But do you know how excited I am on the Chris Jericho cruise that Quiet Riot is going to be on that fucking boat?
That's pretty cool.
I don't know. I love me some 80s hair metal. So I'm
I worked a show not that long ago with Quiet Riot. It was pretty cool.
Yeah, bang your head.
Yeah.
Mental health will drive you wild.
Uh,
God, they knew it then and now. Anyway.
Did you think anything about the Jungle Boy Jay Lethal match?
No, I just, it was really interesting that that Jungle Boy was trying to do was he trying to do was it the kill switch, or it was one of Christian's moves, and I can't remember which one, and it failed. And I'm like, okay.
He failed in his execution, or it just didn't work?
Failed in the execution.
Great.
Yeah.
I couldn't tell you what it was.
Which led to it didn't work.
I started watching a lot of AEW where I turn up the volume in the one room and then I poop with the door open so I can hear it. That's how I consumed this match.
Oh, boy. Can producer lady edit that out? Because that's way TMI. And I noticed the
TMI. People have to, I'm getting him in the scene. I did laugh, though, when they said Jungle Boy getting a win over Jay Lethal was huge and sets him on pace, a much different Jungle Boy than we saw at All Out. And it made me laugh because I was all like, no, Jungle Boy still beat a jobber. It doesn't mean he could beat the guy who beat the shit out of him last week. Jay Lethal has won almost never on TV. He's a jobber. That's how I perceive him when I see him. Oh, Jay Lethal's in a match so someone else can win? Great. Jay Lethal couldn't beat Ric Flair, and he's fucking 79 years old.
He wasn't supposed to beat Ric Flair. That wasn't supposed to be... No, it wasn't about him. Because, come on, do you think Ric Flair's last match, do you think Ric Flair's going to go on his back? No. Come on now. Do
I think an 80-year-old shouldn't win a fight against people in their 20s and 30s who are supposed to be trained fighters? You're damn right. Absolutely.
This is fake, though. This is fake. Okay.
And they make it look that way, and that's
just like Mickey Mouse. Okay, going back to Mickey Mouse and MJF. Okay.
Who is Jay Lethal? If MJF's Mickey Mouse, who does that make Jay Lethal?
Jay Lethal would be.
No, I mean Goofy was a total jobber.
No. He would be one of those characters you could care less. It's kind of exciting to see when he's there because he's not always around. But
like
when
Huey,
he's there,
Dewey, or
like,
Louie.
No, they don't even have those anymore. They were around a lot when DuckTales was there. No, you know who he is? He is
Slinky the dog.
No, they don't have those ones. Okay, he would be the equivalent of so you know how like the Mad Hatter and Alice walk around Disney quite a bit?
Yeah.
He's the White Rabbit. You never really see him. You see him like in parades, but you don't see him out and about.
Well, it's because he's in a hurry.
Yeah.
That's his gimmick.
Not
he's
really.
The little stopwatch. He's like,
yeah, I know.
I'm
but,
late. He's always
yeah,
late.
but
yeah.
But you know what I mean. You know what I'm trying to say.
Yeah. Justin says Lethal's last win on TV was against Dax Harwood weeks ago.
He cheated to
Justin,
win.
I would
Yeah.
say also look at that. There's a good possibility that was not only his last win, but his first.
No, he's won one, maybe two.
Not on TV. Maybe on YouTube.
Well, if it's on YouTube, then he's won a bunch.
He does say that it was the kill switch he tried to, but got nothing out of it. So
Yeah.
This was a lot of, for a show that we used to complain that would have like 4 matches that took up 40 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
This show only had like 4 matches, and they equated to 40 minutes. Like there's a lot of backstage stuff and in-ring talking and such.
Yeah.
I'm scrolling through, and I was like, God damn, where are the matches?
Not that much. There weren't that
It's
many.
not that much.
Mm-mm.
The Matt Hardy thing, weird, but okay.
I had nothing to say about that one. I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
I forgot you were around.
Yeah, and then he's like, I want a match with Darby. And even in his eyes, you could tell when he's like, so that's why I'm challenging you to Rampage. You could see in his face, he was like, I guess. Like, he said it that way. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, he was like, oh, God.
he was like, I'm trying to come up with a reason, guys, work with me. But it was all right. It was fine. He's going to have a match with Darby on a show that I won't watch, and that's probably fine. Sure. Darby's like king of Rampage. He's on Rampage every week in a match.
Now, lately, yeah. But remember, for a while, he wasn't. Mm-mm. No. He was all about Sting and him on Father and Son on Dynamite.
Oh, yeah, it's true. He was Dynamite for a while.
I guess maybe that's getting old for people. But that's what happens when you don't give us the snow anymore. Okay? That's what happens.
Yeah. Justin says most of Lethal's wins are probably on Dark Elevation, and Rampage. Again, who cares about any of those? Yeah, that's my point. Like, if I only see you on Dynamite because I don't watch Rampage or YouTube, then I only know you as a jobber. So when you come out and they're like, oh, what a win, I was like, why? That guy only loses. He's not that good. You know what I mean? Like, in a kayfabe sense, you're not very good, dude. You lose all your matches. You're bad at this. In a reality standpoint, he's very good.
But then there are some people who are really bad at it.
Well,
Dan
there's
has
people who are winning who are very bad. They'll win. You go,
No-
how did
no
you win? You're
comment.
very bad at this.
No comment.
Yeah. So Hobbs comes out. He beats the shit out of some random dude in 3 seconds or so with one move. And then Ricky Starks has himself an Undertaker Shield-like entrance where he comes from the top but takes as much time as he can. He does the simplest fake out on security ever. Gets in the ring and then busts
That was
Will
not
Hobbs.
slick.
It wasn't slick.
No.
He just went, huh, huh, and then gets in, and the security just goes like, nothing we could do about that.
Well,
Don't go around me. You better not. That's my security impression.
Well, okay, you know why he took a long time to go down the stairs?
Probably he's wearing slides.
No, he had the loafers on this time. I was like, that's what I thought at first. I'm like, oh, you're wearing the slides? I get it. Right? It's taking you forever. Then when he got in the ring, I'm like, oh no, he had, they were shoes.
Mm-hmm.
It's because, like, when you get that forward momentum, and sometimes in arenas, the stairs are kind of steep when you're going down. You got a big old booty. So that, like, freaking, the weight.
Weight distribution.
Weight distribution. You can't be just bum rushing down the stairs. Because look at the Shield. Those guys didn't have butts like that. That's like maybe an extra, like, I don't know, 10 pounds back there. You know, you'd like totally roll down, or
If you take
so
your Sammy Guevara hate and bias out of the equation, Sammy Guevara got good or bad butt?
Bad.
Bad butt? Okay.
It's flat. There's no butt. There's flat.
Definitely not flat. There's right when Tay comes out, I challenge you to go back. The camera was right up his butt, and I was like, damn. What's going on over here?
Damn what?
I was like, I wonder. I thought you were gonna enjoy that moment, regardless of you hating on Sammy.
No, it's not me hating on Sammy. That's not a butt. There were some that Ocean Spray had. He does not have a good butt either, and it's not because I don't like him. He just does not have a good butt.
I think you have a dude butt bias. I'm just gonna say.
No, I don't. I don't. You know who's one of my favorite wrestlers? Zack Sabre Jr. He has no ass. Okay. Colt Cabana. I love Colt. There's no fucking ass there. No,
he's built like a
please.
tree trunk.
No, it's more like I don't know what it is. When all I know is this:
It's like a Lego
when they were
man.
handing out a lot of things in life, Colt was not in the line for a lot of things.
No, Colt's built like a Lego man. You know what I mean?
No, because wait, Lego men aren't that wide, really.
they are.
But
Yeah.
they're boxy. He's not boxy.
Yeah, he is. He's boxy
I
as
don't
fuck.
know. I don't know. Well,
Oh yeah.
anyways, but like a Jay Lethal coming down. Not Jay Lethal. That guy's got a big old booty.
I'm gonna get my first Colt DM just out of nowhere, being like, "Dude, you talked a lot about my ass."
No, Colt was like, "Don't encourage her." Yeah, I know.
true.
I'm like, yeah, but even he will tell you he doesn't have a butt.
But yeah,
which-
so what do
yeah.
you think of this Ricky Hobbs thing? Because I was actually surprised that they were going back to it because I thought that they were really going to move on. Do you think they're going to give Ricky the win over Powerhouse in the next go around?
Here's what I'm thinking.
Nothing at all out.
Nothing. No, here's what I'm thinking. Okay, so first of all, I think it's kind of dumb that the last 2 weeks Hobbs has had these little skinny, real tiny people that he's just basically, one and done, boom, right? Yeah. And what also was hilarious was before Ricky came down, right, his lip was already bleeding. I'm not saying he, whatever, but I was like, why is your lip bleeding? And then when Ricky came down and then I'm like, oh, I see. So he prematurely bit his lip, I think, or whatever to make him bleed. I'm like, come on, Will, you know better. But again, it's another thing of, oh, this is Tony Khan. We need blood.
Yeah, but it looks good. It looks good when it's just that little bit, You go, oh shit.
But still, it was like, I'm sure that little guy, unless you bit your tongue or something, I'm like that little fucking dude who weighs like fucking maybe $1.25, I'm like, I'm sure he didn't cause your lip to bleed, bro.
Yeah.
So I was already like weirded out by that. And then the whole thing though with Ricky, it was like, okay, you cut these really weird promos lately of, oh, the whole all out thing, oh yeah, I lost, blah, blah, blah. Who cares? Like the factory, those are all jobbers, bro. You're no one cares. The only thing is with this Hobbs thing is that you shouldn't have been fucking bitched out like that.
Yeah.
No, you should have gotten something in. You had gotten some shit in, but not that whole thing. So I think either it goes one of two ways. If he loses to Hobbs again, forget it. He has no more career. Quit trying.
Yeah.
There, at least. Or if he gets the win, well, what's it mean? Where do you go from here? Because there's too many mouths trying to get fed and too many people who want a title or too many people who want this or this. They want to be on TV. You want to be on this. You want to be on that.
And one of the big things that AEW said early on was they weren't going to do 50-50 booking.
Yeah.
I mean, like, you can't just go over here and get Ricky his win back. I honestly think that as much as it sucks, I think you double down and give Powerhouse the win again. I think you make it a much more difficult match on Hobbs. I think you have Ricky fight much harder than he fought in All Out, and you get a few of those real close calls where Ricky should have won. And I don't think you make Hobbs cheat or anything, but you maybe have Ricky slip, and then Hobbs gets the win. He takes advantage. You know what I mean? Like, takes advantage of the opportunity, but doesn't need to cheat to do it. And I think that you just have a better outing and a better match, but I think that you still have Hobbs win. I do.
Yeah. But then it's like, well, what do you do to this guy? Where do you go?
Whatever. You can go back to. He could join the firm with Stokely.
He won't do that. I think what he would probably do is he'd open his mouth enough thinking that Cody would help him out to greener pastures.
Yeah, I think.
But at the end of the day, though, if you couldn't do it on your own, then yeah.
I do think that Ricky's put on a lot of size in the past 6 months.
He has. He's massive.
Yeah,
He's very vascular. if that's
Yeah.
the term people like to use.
Yeah.
Which I'm like, but one thing's for sure, that booty's still.
I feel like
Is it bigger?
he could come
No.
in and just beat the shit out of Gargano. That'd be good.
Anybody can come in and beat the shit out of Gargano. What are you talking
know.
about?
They're pushing
I want him to
Gargano
come
like
in-
crazy though.
But
Like
I would
crazy.
love, I know, but I would love for him to like kill, like beat the shit out of people like Austin Theory,
No,
because that's the big one they compare to right now. Is
no. it's
oh,
not.
Ricky
You're
and
missing
Austin
it.
Theory.
Did you watch Raw?
No.
Everything you're saying is completely opposite of what we saw on Raw. This is why I'm saying it. Kevin Owens just cut a massive promo talking about how good Gargano is in Theory's face. Gets in Theory's face about the whole thing.
Oh,
If you want to bring in Ricky and give him a splash, I mean, they're putting over Gargano like crazy. They put him on After the Bell. They put him on Ryan Satin's podcast. They had Johnny co-host The Bump with Kevin Owens. Kevin Owens takes half of his promo to talk about how good Gargano is. They want you to believe that Gargano is the second coming of Shawn Michaels. This is the greatest single wrestler of all time.
you must be having a fit because you're like, no, I
Yeah.
don't see this.
Yeah, I'm yelling. I'm throwing things. I will, though, suggest Gargano did have a match with Chad Gable, and it was very good. I could not believe it. Did you at any point in time ever think Gargano might be a chain wrestler?
No.
Me neither. I think he might be. And we never knew. Because I don't think he's ever worked with people who could do it the way who could bring it out of him, or that he felt he needed to. I want to see a Gargano against like a Thatcher now, or a Pete Dunne. Like, you should watch Gable and Gargano, because it was eye-opening and crazy.
Okay. I'll take your word on that.
But that's what I'm saying. If Ricky showed up and clobbered Gargano, well, now you got some heel heat, because the whole promo of Kevin Owens was that guys like Theory don't have a place here anymore. You have to check your ego at the door. You have to work hard. You can't just have opportunities handed to you. If you had a Ricky come in and basically join forces with Theory for a little bit and be all like, yeah, we can take every opportunity that's handed to us. And no, we don't have to go the same way you go. Like, you get to get him in a huge program right away against somebody they're trying to push as a top dude as a major heel, getting a ton of boos, because I think he has a lot of fun as a heel. Even though he can be a great babyface, I think he's got a lot of fun when he's being a heel. I think
He
it'd be
doesn't
awesome.
he does not like to be classified as one or the other, because he's like, I am not either. And I'm like, excuse me.
He is.
Yeah, you are. You are.
Just like how
You
Cody
are.
said that there weren't going to be baby faces and heels in AEW.
You
but
are.
there are.
Yeah,
They are.
you are. Yep,
Yeah.
you're taking this baby face thing now, because we all saw that rock eyebrow you threw at the camera.
Oh, yeah, we saw that. Justin does
We
say
saw
Matt Hardy turning into Paul White with all these face and heel turns. You know, that's the other thing, too, is I know that people are like, oh, the person's so good, they can do heel or face, whatever you need. I don't think that people realize that they didn't mean week to week. They just mean in general.
No.
You know what I mean? Like, I can do that for a couple years, and I can do the other one for a couple years. Like, you got to make it make sense, but this back and forth business is crazy. What'd you think of Lucha Brothers?
Unless your character was a schizophrenic.
Oh, yeah, that'd be neat.
But you know who I think would the only character right now in all of wrestling that could be so going back and forth, Dexter Lumis.
Yeah.
As annoying as that sounds, and thinking of that, he's the only one.
Yeah. Kevin Owens, I think, successfully does it.
Yeah, but like if you were to go like 1 week you're bad, 1 week you're good, 1 week you're bad. Yeah.
Kevin Owens does that sometimes.
Well,
I think he pulls it off really well, because I think that he leans in very heavily to who he's up against and why his character would have an issue with that person. And if that means in this particular week you're going to cheer me, cool. Next week I might have an issue with a guy that you like, though, and you're going to boo me, and that's cool too. Like, he's able to fluctuate that way in a really more seamless way than most, you know?
yeah.
I think that works also because the whole prize fighter thing, right? Like, no, I've got my beefs, and sometimes it's with bad guys, but sometimes it's with good guys, but it's my beef, you know? What'd you think of Lucha Brothers against Swerve and Our Glory for the championship?
That was, for me, one of the only real highlights of the damn show. Let's be honest. I enjoyed seeing it. It always kind of, when the Lucha Brothers got the trio title with, you know, Death as being Death Triangle, I had to sit there to myself to think, man, this wasn't that the first like any kind of gold that they've had in AEW?
Mm,
Because I don't think they were the
the
tag champs.
Swerve?
No,
Or
no, no,
Lucha?
no, the Lucha Brothers.
Did they not hold the tag championships once?
I don't think they did.
Huh. Then maybe not. Maybe
Or
they've held no
I
gold.
don't know. I don't know. But I was kind of like, oh man, I mean, this is great. Because I don't think that on the indies I've ever seen Swerve or Keith Lee versus either one of these two.
Mm,
So it was kind of nice to see. It was very refreshing because this is a combination of people that we normally don't see. So that's
yeah.
where I was like, hey, this is actually decent booking, Tony Khan. But
You know who posted a TBT from one of these guys? Hammerstone against Penta.
really,
Yeah, that happened at some point. I didn't realize.
wow,
Yeah.
damn, that must have been a, pardon the overused word, but that must have been a banger.
Yeah.
Yeah, because those guys are two big, strong, freaking dudes, and yeah, you give me a good a good like, strong type of opponent against Hammerstone, and I am like all about that.
Oh,
All
yeah.
about that. Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. I miss seeing Hammerstone actually too, by the way.
Yeah, me
I
too.
was thinking that.
MLW is coming back pretty soon.
Yeah. But but hey, I mean, I thought it worked really, really well. So
Mm-hmm.
I'm a fan. That was a good match.
Yeah, there was a few parts that were a little, heavily worked that didn't need to be so, but otherwise pretty good.
That's the style though.
Yeah.
You know.
And I thought about that too. I was
So
watching. I was like, man, Keith Lee's really leaning into this style, this indie style.
yeah.
Uh,
That's his safe zone. And I mean, and rightfully so, because I think that, when he was on the indies and all the success that he has had with a lot of these guys that are on, this roster and the other one, yeah, he's more comfortable doing that, not that WWE style.
yeah,
That's not
seems to be.
that's just not that just is not him. Because Keith Lee can fly, if he put himself to it, he could fly. I've seen him fly, and whoo boy, yeah, I've been there when he's broken a ring.
Mm-hmm.
That was pretty, yeah, two big dudes breaking a ring. It's like, holy fuck. I thought there was like an earthquake. That's how massive, like the sound and the vibration was.
That's cool.
Holy crap. Yeah.
Bishop says, didn't
Pretty
Lucha Bros win that tag match? I have no idea what match he's talking about, but maybe.
Yeah, what? Yeah, not last night.
Not a lot is easy to remember.
No, because we need to see the Acclaimed.
Yeah, so the Acclaim comes out. I'll be honest. This promo specifically made me really like Max Caster and get really annoyed with Bowens. Like, Max Caster is very good when he's not trying to rhyme.
Yeah.
When he's just like speaking because he's pissed off at a dude, he came off really serious and genuine, and it came off like pretty fucking cool.
Mm-hmm.
And then Bowens grabbed the mic and did his best like Ultimate Warrior impression and screamed at the top of his lung a bunch of little catchphrases and threw the mic, and I was like, ugh.
Yeah.
Whatever. You know what I mean? Like,
but
just,
that's his job.
Yeah, but it's stupid. It's stupid.
I know
and
it's
super
stupid.
pro wrestling. And I'm like, okay.
Yeah.
You did your 80s pro wrestling promo.
This is Tony Khan booking 101 right there.
Yeah.
That promo, those type of promos.
Yeah.
Just be glad that they're not exploiting the fact that he's gay. They could do that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Bishop says cage match, Penta hugged his family and shit. I don't know what the fuck he's talking about. I'm sure it happened, dude. Probably happened. I don't remember it at all. If it was on a pay-per-view, then I definitely didn't watch it. I don't pay for that stuff anymore.
Yeah. We don't pay.
Yeah. But yeah, it made me really like Max Caster more so because I've never been like so blown away by his raps. And Bowens I always thought was kind of loud and annoying, but it sort of fit the rest of it. Where now I'm looking at it and I'm looking at the Acclaimed like the way I look at Street Profits in the idea that when Ford wants to be serious, he's something else. He's something special to watch. But at the same time, you've got Dawkins on the other side who refuses to let that happen, and he comes off as a cartoon and out of the way. I'm getting the same vibes from Caster, where when Caster wants to be serious, he's something else.
Yeah.
But Bones isn't going to let that happen, and he's going to do his goofy shit and be loud and
Yeah.
annoying for no reason. You go, okay, well, one of these guys might have a really, really top of the card type future, and the other guy might need to really tone down to get there.
You know who they remind me of? Is Chuck D and Flavor Flav.
That's cool.
Because Bowens is that clown. He had a boombox. Flavor Flav had that big old clock necklace, you know. And that's how I kind of see the two of them. And I've seen them that way for a while now.
Yeah.
But I mean, I do enjoy them. I do enjoy them. It's very interesting that subtly they're the most winning tag team of all of AEW. It's really interesting to me that they have that stat. So I always think that's kind of cool.
I do think the match will be cool, and I do think that it's time to put the titles on the Acclaimed, though.
I think so too.
True. Yeah.
I think so too. I think because they're so right now, they're just so beyond over, that, you know, it's almost like you kind of have to at this point.
Yeah. And it's easy to see, even from somebody like me who doesn't like a lot of what they're doing.
Mm-hmm.
You have to be stupid to say they're not incredibly popular or not doing it to the best of the ability, and the fans don't love it. Like, they do. Like, that's it. They're your tag team, man. Like, push them, whether I like it or not. No concern. You know what I mean? Like, plenty of people like it. You don't need just this one idiot to like it. You don't need me. You got thousands of others. You know, like, don't worry about me being annoyed. Do it the way you do it, because there's a lot more people liking it than not. So, just to say also that the critiques we do are meant to be not taken super seriously and pretty lightly and fun, right? Like, I don't like a thing.
Not
so
when
what?
I hate. Not when I hate people.
Some people we hate, Grim Reaper coming through saying hi.
Hi.
Athena and Toni Storm against Britt Baker and Serena Deeb. Parts of this match I really liked. Parts of it were a mess.
This is very underwhelming.
Yeah, and now we're gonna get a fatal 4-way for the title again. And this is a total mess. I saw someone break this down on a thing here, and I pulled it up because someone tweeted it, but they aren't the person who wrote it. It's a screenshot of somebody else who wrote it, so it's a little hard for me to like give credit the right way, and so I'm just gonna read what it is. But it's like bullet pointed. It says the new champion Toni Storm got pinned in a non-title match and was sacrificed to advance a feud that doesn't involve her, which is true because it was all about Jamie Hayter and Britt Baker. This whole feud.
Yeah.
Serena Deeb, the woman that pinned her, isn't getting a one-on-one match with the champion. Athena, who just lost a title match at Double or Nothing and was on the losing team tonight, is in the title match for some reason. Britt Baker is also in the title match, despite not pinning the champion like Deeb did, and isn't the first in the rankings. Jamie Hayter, who is beyond pissed at Britt, beats down Toni instead and further makes her look like a chump, and then leaves after yelling at Britt a little bit. We're getting yet another 4-way women's match in just under 2 weeks. We had one at pay-per-view, and the women were once again relegated to the 9:20 p.m. slot, which is true. Someone's pointed that out a number of times. Every time the women's on, if you check your clock, it's 9:20, 9:24-ish, somewhere around there. And also the majority of this match was in picture-in-picture. But, yeah, we have a 4-way coming out of this match, and a story that didn't build to a 4-way whatsoever. This is a mess.
It's an afterthought.
Yep.
This
should have been Storm against Deeb. This should have been a one-on-one Storm against Deeb.
Oh, but remember, Toni Storm couldn't remember her name.
Sure, but she remembered it eventually. And she's not the one who's booking. She doesn't have to remember names.
Respect of your coworkers.
I don't remember most of my coworkers' names. I don't have to. They wear name tags.
No. I think Mickey and Minnie and Goofy and them need to wear a name tag, because if I didn't know, you know.
They should. That's a good point. Anything you want to say about any of this kind of mess that's the women's division right now?
No, I will say this is that I'm like glad that Britt's gonna get her ass handed to her by Jamie Hayter at some point. I've been waiting for this for quite a long time. I think I said it on episode 1. It's been a shit waste of Jamie Hayter, I think. Because there's a lot of really good matches that she can have out there. So it's kind of a shame. Deeb, it's very interesting. Like, once I think she lost after we haven't seen her in a while on anything. So that was kind of shocking to kind of see her.
And Tony and Deeb worked really, really well together.
They did. I need to see more of Tony and Deeb.
Yeah.
Because that right there, that's some good damn fucking wrestling. You know, right there. And I don't know. I don't know. I don't know why, but I just am not feeling Athena in AEW.
Yeah, something's
not right. I don't know what it is.
She feels out of place.
But I'm not. Yeah.
I don't know why.
I'm not feeling it. I'm not feeling it. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
The main event was Bryan Danielson against Chris Jericho. Daniel Bryan won. Match was better than I expected it to be. Definitely not match of the century by any means. It was fine, better than I thought. It was weirdly slow and long for the platform, right? For an AEW match, it took a really long time and it was very slow, and so it was kind of nice in that regard. It was a little something different, a little change of pace. But I also felt like it went on way too long at the same regard. But it wasn't bad. Things looked good. Did a good job. Chris Jericho overacted in his selling a lot. It was what it was. They didn't cut themselves, so there's that. But then we get to stare down Moxley and Daniel Bryan for the championship next week, and I think that match will be cool.
Yeah.
More excited for that match than does anything in this whole tournament.
Yeah. Oh, I will say this. I'm like, well, another WWE person versus a WWE person. Quit insulting my indie-telligence.
Yep. And I know people are going to complain about the concept of complaining about someone coming from WWE. Because I also agree with the idea that, like, just because someone worked in NXT or WWE, like, calling Keith Lee a WWE guy, I think is a little unfair. They weren't champions. You know what I mean? Like, you aren't talking about mainstream champions. Like, Daniel Bryan and Moxley were world champions several times. Jericho, several-time world champion. You know what I mean? Like, and Keith Lee wasn't there all that long, realistically. You know what I mean? So it's like, I also agree that sometimes people overuse the idea of, like, a WWE guy. But as much as you can say that CM Punk or Daniel Bryan had Ring of Honor careers before WWE, they weren't the household names they became because of the amount of time they spent in WWE. And they weren't the world champions they were in WWE. You know what I mean? Like, and so, yeah, I do think that this looks like a WWE title fight instead of an AEW title fight. Which, I don't know, for better or for worse, I guess, right? There's something to be said for champions, people you know as credible champions, going for your title. But there's also something to be said that within 3 years' time, you couldn't create one single in-house person who you think is on their level. You know what I mean? Like, that's the problem, is that you've had 3 years to get one person to be believably contending for this championship, and you don't have one.
No.
That's why you're using these two, because they came ready-made.
Yeah, but you had one almost, but you dropped the ball with it.
They've dropped the ball on a bunch of them. That's what I mean. They've gotten a bunch of opportunities to do that, and they failed on them every time.
Yeah.
I don't know. Do you want to talk NXT?
Oh, yes. NXT.
Let's see. Do you want to talk NXT or PWI real quick?
Let's talk about the PWI. I totally forgot about that.
Yeah, because I got that up here too. So the PWI 500 came out. Number 1, we the ones. The bloodline is the ones. You got Roman Reigns. I think Roman Reigns being number 1 also means that Sami Zayn's technically number 1 because he's kind of an honorary Uce. So I think that he's also an honorary Uce, like Unce. Like, how do you say one in other languages that sounds like us? In German, eins.
And there's in
Un.
French.
Uno. Yeah, he's the honorary Uno. The honorary eins. You know what I mean? So basically, Roman Reigns being number one makes Sami Zayn also technically number one. You know what I mean?
But you know who's not number one?
Drew McIntyre.
Well, yeah, that too, but no, that's not where I was going.
No.
Best in the world, my ass, people.
Yeah. None of the best in the world's made it to number one, but Roman Reigns. Number 2 was Okada. CM Punk was number 3.
Why is Phil number 3?
Because he was the face of AEW for a year.
I don't give a fuck.
Regardless of not being the champion. That's their whole thing. They had a whole thing about how they determine who they get, and it's like world title matches, world big company feuds, things like that.
Well,
that's
did
the
they?
criteria. AEW was obsessed with him.
Well, obviously, this came out. They decided way before All Out. So if that had anything. I know, but if that.
This goes from June to July of 1 year to the next. So the last July, August, September, the last 2 months don't count. 3 months probably.
Well, all I know is this: that's going to be the fastest falling person in the history of that ranking system.
It's going to be really funny when this next year he's like 234.
Maybe even lower.
Let's see. So you had Punk on 3. Adam Page is 4. That's funny. I thought he never did anything in this business.
I know.
You got Bobby Lashley 5. Cody Rhodes 6.
That's interesting. I think he'd be a little higher,
You'd think so too, and I know that part of their argument is that, the time frame, but the time frame includes his flip. You know what I mean? That time frame includes him losing the TNT championship and going into WrestleMania and having just a crazy high-end feud with Seth. Like, I would have thought he'd be, as much as I love Bobby Lashley, and I really do, I'd have put Cody above Bobby, I think. Because even though Bobby was a world champion during some of that, Cody Rhodes was the talk of the industry for a while.
Yeah. There. I would even put him above Hangman.
Yeah. Yeah, that'd be easy. I could even see that. Do CM Punk 3, Cody Rhodes 4, Page 5, Bobby 6. I'd be okay with that. I would have shuffled that just a little bit. It does seem a little low for Cody, but I don't want to take away from a couple guys above him as well. Bryan Danielson 7, Hijo Del number 8, 9 was Big E, El Hijo Del. I have no idea.
Is that a luchador?
Probably AAA, I would imagine.
Okay.
9 is Big E, and 10 is Jonathan Gresham. Notable ones below that, Moxley's 12, Matt Cardona's 13. That's why I was wearing my I'm Here.
Nice.
Today. For Cardona to be 13.
Is this the highest ranked he's ever been?
It's got to be, right? There's got to be no other time he's been ranked this high.
No way. I'd say he's probably the highest ranked he probably would probably be in the top 50 somewhere between 25 and 50. Yeah.
Yeah, it's got to be. He's ranked above MJF, Seth Rollins, Adam Cole, Kenny Omega, Drew McIntyre, Jericho, Jay White, Braun Breaker, Ospreay, Sammy Guevara, Zack Sabre Jr. These are all people he's above. Like, people had killer years this year too, and he's above them. And I think the thing that's the coolest for that, because a lot of these numbers don't mean a lot, right? And we joke about it every year. We always joke about it because it's one person. We go, boo, I don't like him. At the end of the day, they make this list to sell magazines. They put the person on the cover they think is going to move the most magazines. And that's why for the last 3 years, the cover's been AEW people, because their audience is primarily AEW centric. They know that, they're aware of it, they're catering to that, and that makes sense and it's smart. I don't get mad when it's not a WWE person on the cover. But at the same time, when the women's came out, they knew that the WWE women were going to sell better than the AEW women. That's why you had Bayley on the cover. You had Becky on the cover. They knew that was going to sell, right? This
That's
is
why
cool.
Potion Spray will never be on the cover.
Yeah,
No,
he'll never be on the cover. But what makes this cool for like a guy like a Cardona or like the Greshams or Hammerstones coming up the list is basically everyone underneath number 1 are people they just think people should be paying attention to if they're not in a specific order, right? More or less. Hey, here's people who are really important, had good years. But then you start getting into numbers where it's all like, if you aren't aware, you need to make yourself keenly aware. And for Cardona to be number 13 without any national platform, like you can say all you want, Impact is national, but come on.
GCW, how he fucking GCW put that shit, like turned that shit upside down.
Yes. Primarily working in GCW more than anywhere else. Has any other Impact person been that high? Has any GCW person ever been that high? You know what I mean? Like, this is how cool and how good it is for Cardona between NWA, GCW, and Impact. And to be honest, the stuff he does in Impact, people don't talk about almost at all. They talk about his GCW and his NWA stuff and all the indie stuff he does all over the country.
And
the idea of Impact is like the least of the things that you talk about when it comes to him. Yeah, and his podcast series and all that. Like, just
you
super
hear more
cool for Cardona.
Yeah, you hear more Brian Myers out of Impact than you do with Cardona. When I think of Impact.
Yeah. And arguably Impact is his biggest platform, and it's the least exciting of all the things he does and the least notable of all the things that he's doing. And that's not to say he's doing nothing of any worth there. It's just to mean that like your biggest platform's there, and yet everything you're doing on a smaller platform is getting more noise. Like, that's awesome.
Exactly.
I'm waiting for him.
I was hoping that PWG would book him. Because goddamn.
Yeah.
That'd be kind of exciting. BL coming in and being his fucking,
I've been trying to keep an eye for when he comes through LA again. I know I've missed a few of the GCW shows where he's been there, but I'm trying to catch him in LA one more time. I don't know how much longer we're going to have him on the indies.
Go on the cruise.
The cruise is like $1,000. I'm not spending $1,000 to meet Matt Cardona.
You don't have to spend $1,000 cruise.
If anyone's got comps, let me know. But I just think it's cool for Cardona. You know what I think he should do? And I think he will, because I think he's one of the master merchandisers. He's got to come out with like a baseball jersey. It's got a number 13 on the back.
He should.
Yeah.
I'd buy one.
Like that. Yeah, I would. Right, absolutely. But yeah, I thought it was really notable. Those were kind of to me, that was kind of the bigger takeaways on it, you know?
There's people I'm curious where they landed.
Who do you want to know where they landed? I'll tell you. Sami Zayn's number 84. I know you were wondering.
Oh, wow. Where's Kevin Owens?
Kevin Owens was higher. He was 36. So like 50 higher, which is also crazy to think that, Sammy's doing some of the most incredible, notable work of his career. And he'll never get the recognition he deserves. Suzuki's 44.
You go murder Grandpa.
Yeah.
You're ranked.
Jacob Fatu, 42.
Wow. That's another one, MLW, not, really not on a big stage,
And he kind of walked away from MLW there.
Yeah.
Where's Hammerstone?
Where's Hammerstone? Because I know you mentioned Hammerstone, but you didn't say where.
Yeah.
I'm curious about, there's a couple people I'm curious about.
Is there a wrestler just named Alexander?
I don't know, maybe.
Because I see that as number 24, and I don't see Hammerstone, and I wonder if the page just didn't put the last name, because there's no way Hammerstone's not top 100.
Hold on.
Scrolling.
Well, there's a bunch of Alexanders, like Josh Alexander.
Well, yeah, but this just says Alexander, and that's what makes me think it's supposed to be Alexander Hammerstone. I'm
I
gonna
don't
go
know,
to
maybe
Hammerstone's. I'm gonna go to his Twitter. I think he posted about it.
Yeah.
I'm gonna pull it up.
Did our buddy Sam Stackhouse make it?
Oh, that's a great question. Stackhouse should be on there somewhere. Let's look. Hold on, let me see. Thursday, Sunday. Where's that going to be? Georgia. Hammerstone number 24. Yeah, there you go. That makes sense.
Okay, that is him. Okay.
So yeah, He's number 24 on the list that I'm looking at. They didn't put his last name there. Let me see. Let's look up Stackhouse. Not found.
Oh, next year. That's your goal. I mean, shit, he's doing matches against James Storm. What the fuck?
I know.
Yeah. Come on, people. You need to know Sam Stackhouse. Come on, peeps. Where is Boom Boom?
That's crazy. Who?
Where's Boom Boom? Probably Boom Boom behind my shoulder. Cole Cabana.
There's no way he's top. Nope, he's not on the list. He's not even top 500.
Are you
He hasn't
serious?
been on TV in a year.
I will tell you this. This is probably the first time in I will say, as long as I've been a fan of his, and I've been a fan of his for over 10 years, I've never not seen him on there. The lowest I've ever seen him was like maybe in the 200s, and that was just him doing indie shit.
Yeah.
Tony Khan and fucking Punk, fuck you, because you basically killed this man's career. And that hurts my heart. Okay. I wonder if Marty was ranked, even though he's not doing anything.
I doubt it. Let's see. There's one Robert Martyr. That's
Yeah, I know who Robert Martyr is.
He made Robert Martyr is 482. So he barely made the list. Reggie's 490. That's funny. But who else? Who's you want to look for before we go into AEW?
Marty.
Before we go into NXT.
So,
I looked at Marty. He's not on the list.
what? Even though he's a champ over in Europe?
In Puerto Rico?
Puerto Rico and Europe? Come on now.
Yeah, it doesn't matter.
Mighty have fallen. He was he was still at least ranked last year. You know, he didn't do shit. But anyways, where's Hobbs at?
Hobbs.
Then you say
103.
something like wow. And Ricky was what, 50 some on?
Yeah, Starks was much higher.
Interesting.
Starks is 53.
Interesting.
Yep.
Very interesting. Very, very interesting. And where's Janela? Probably not on there either because fucking
260.
Well, you go, Joey Janela.
Yeah. Yep. If anybody else has any questions in the chat where people landed, I know you probably already looked some of them up, but
Damn. I can't believe that Colt's not even in the fucking Tony Khan, you killed me. Seriously. Like that's it. Yeah, I understand Marty, but Colt.
Yeah.
Come on now. That hurts my heart. It really does.
Yep. Well, let's talk NXT then.
Yeah.
Yep. Let's see. He did open up with Steel Cage Championship, pretty deadly against the Creed brothers. It's an interesting way to do the finish, having Kemp come out and handcuff the guy, and is pretty good. I just kind of don't care about any of these teams, so it's kind of like even when I was watching stuff and it looked good, it almost felt analytical watching it. You know what I mean? Like I wasn't invested in it at all. I was just like, oh, that's a very well executed. You know what I mean? Like, something's definitely missing.
I just don't like Pretty Deadly, so I really wasn't. I was like, but then I thought, you know what? It's the 1 year anniversary of 2.0, and let's get the crap out of the way. That's what I was thinking.
Yeah, they showed a bunch of video packages, kind of celebrating 2.0 in between almost every. It felt like every single commercial break there was one. Maybe it was every few.
Yeah.
But there was a couple of them. We had Fallon Henley versus Last Legend. It was pretty cool seeing the Connor Cure kid come out with them and all that, and it was a fine match. It was, it was what it was. It was a match on the card. It wasn't bad, but they're both getting better.
Great. Yeah.
Toxic Attraction. Oh, go ahead.
I will say, I know it comes up a little bit later, but I did love the segment with Wendy Choo, not because I'm a choo on the choo train, but I thought that was just great. She got Ghetto back up on Lash Legend, and it was great.
Yeah, that was pretty good. That was good.
Yeah.
Toxic Attraction backstage was pretty good, and they came out and they were cutting the promo. Alba Fire came out, started beating everyone up with a bat. Actually looked really good. A lot of times people use bats, it looks terrible because they're clearly like trying so hard. Oh, she was great. I couldn't believe it.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Cora Jade had her really cool promo where she was just tearing the locker room apart. I thought that was awesome.
That was a good one.
Anything you want to say about any of those? Any of that stuff?
No, I enjoyed them all, you know.
Yeah.
It really did Cora's was great because you just really saw all of the, you know, you kind of got it in your mind. Oh, okay, I can see where a lot of this angst is coming from, you know.
Yeah. Quincy Elliott versus Sean Gallagher. What'd you think of this?
I don't honestly, like, I just was like, oh,
to me it feels exaggerated, and so it doesn't come off very authentic. And then I feel like that NXT's done a pretty piss poor job of making you understand when they're celebrating something versus not understanding if they're mocking something. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And when you go a little too heavy on stuff, like, I don't get the impression that this person is like that to this extent. I get the impression they're like this a little bit. But it comes off kind of unauthentic, and I just kind of think it comes off silly. And I go, oh, okay.
Yeah.
I mean, the person might be like that, but it's not coming across the TV if they are. You know what I mean?
Yeah. No, I just kind of was like, well, okay. Are we going back to the 2.0 that I did not like? That was just kind of my thought of it. And I'm like, please say no.
Yeah. Let's see. Because I didn't even like the referee spot they did at the end of it, too. It was unnecessary. That's something, too. I mean, I don't want to speak on behalf of any community ever, but I feel like, and I'm not trying to, I feel like it's got to be relatively uncomfortable to see so many open performers also become very sexually aggressive with it. I feel like that can't be something that everyone in those communities loves. You know what I mean?
No,
because that's also
where
a stereotype, and I would feel like that's a stereotype that you wouldn't want to progress.
That's where I give Tony Khan some credit with, because Bowens, you don't get that. He's obnoxious because yelling like the Ultimate Warrior and is obnoxious.
And he's even tweeting. He doesn't do it in such an overly aggressive way. He does it in a really tongue-in-cheek, passive way, which is funny.
Yeah, and then Sunny Kiss, same thing, because you could with Sunny Kiss, have gone in a certain direction, but he has not. So I think that, and also with the women who are LGBT part of the community too, you don't see, that's not forced down your throat, and it's not uncomfortable. You know what I mean? Because I think someone I shocked when I said, oh yeah, who is it? Diamante is her, I think, I want to say Kiera Hogan is Diamante's old lady, I think.
Could be.
I think so. And I know Layla Hirsch, she has a partner there too. I can't remember who. But there's quite a few, and it's like, well, they don't shove that down your throat. These are the people in the community. Yay. Yeah. Granted, the only thing I think that was shoved as far as the community is concerned is, the Cody Rhodes, charity shirts. But, I miss those. And why aren't you doing those in AEW? Because, hello, isn't it kind of like Hispanic Heritage Month right now? Kind of, sort of. Yeah. Started in the middle of the month, and it's kind of weird. Where's your shirt, Cody? I would buy one, okay? Because I miss them. But there's no shirt.
They've done a lot less for the community and for their charity since then too, which you'd think that
Yeah.
they put in somebody to take over that position, and you don't see or hear about it anymore. So I don't know if that's
Yeah.
good or bad, or if they're just doing it
Oh,
silently.
oh,
But
oh, you mean the Culture City stuff?
yeah, all that stuff you
Uh,
don't see about as much anymore.
whatchamacallit's in charge of that now?
I know who's in charge of it now, but I'm just saying
Yeah.
there is somebody in charge of it now, and you don't hear about it much anymore. And I just wonder if
No,
it's
you
because
don't.
they don't do as much, or because they're trying to do it more silently. But there isn't the merch like there used to be, and I agree with you
No.
that was something they could have done. Where this though, because I even want to go back and say that the act or presence of anybody from any sexual orientation isn't in and of itself uncomfortable. It's the sexually aggressive stuff that becomes uncomfortable. I didn't like Indy and Dexter. That's no secret. If your whole gimmick is that this is your relationship or this is who you like to have sex with, I just get really like, I just don't care. You know what I mean?
So
like,
you must like flip out then when you see Sammy and Ty Mello. That just
yeah,
to me
I don't like that
that's
stuff at
too
all.
much.
At all. I don't like.
It's like,
yeah,
put your tongues back in, okay? We get it.
yeah.
We get it.
Because
We
bottom
get
line,
it.
I don't care. I don't care. Like, I'm not rooting for you or against you because of any of that. It is as static as it gets. So when you make that your entire presentation, I can't care to want you to win or lose. I need
Yeah.
more than that data for me to be. Yeah, there's no substance to that.
Oh yeah.
Cheer for me because I'm gay? No. I'm not going to boo you because you're gay, but I'm not cheering you because you're gay. I need to know that there's more to a human being than just their orientation.
Yeah.
You know? It's why I had a hard time with Riddle for a long time. He was just stoned all the time. That's not enough for me to cheer. You want me to cheer for you because you're stoned? I don't care.
No, that's no.
There are people I have known in my life where their entire identity is that they smoke weed. And that's how Matt Riddle came across. His entire identity was that he smokes weed. That's not enough of an identity to make me give a shit. One way or the other. You're static until you have some substance to who you are. And if it turns out that is it, that's as much substance as you get, then I just will never care when you're on screen.
Well,
You know what I mean?
that's pretty much his thing, you know.
Sure.
Whereas when you get someone like I'll use Joey Janela. Joey Janela, it's fucking him, a Cardona. These are guys that like fucking they got a fucking million bags up, tricks up their sleeve.
Yeah.
You know, and you don't know. And that's what's kind of exciting about it.
Yeah. But we'll see. It's just the first match. It was fine. In-ring execution was all fine. I liked the King Mabel gear. I think the bonsai drop was a cool finish for Quincy. So we'll see. I just don't, like you said, I just don't care yet. That wasn't enough for me to care. But there's a lot of potential there.
Yeah.
D'Angelo family against Cameron Grimes, and surprise, who could have ever guessed Joe Gacy by his side? I thought this match was great.
Yeah, I do love Cameron Grimes' promo. How it was a little bit serious.
Yeah.
And he's like, I don't, his whole I don't need anybody, to take me to the moon.
Yeah.
That was great. We don't see that.
Yeah.
And thank God he's not losing any more body hair, Justin.
That's true. Justin was wrong on that one.
Mm-hmm.
I liked all this. I even liked the stuff afterwards, the fight, or like the yelling. It kind of made me wonder. Remember, I kept seeing that like it feels like Grimes is having less and less of an identity, and I thought that they were leaning into he could join Joe Gacy and then get an identity shift. I feel like they're still towing that line. They're still heading that direction. They're just slow playing it.
Yeah, and the slow play in this case is good.
Yeah.
I think that because I feel like sometimes I feel like I think the LA Night program was a little rushed.
Yeah.
I could have, personally, I would have liked that have gone a little longer.
Yeah.
But I think that this is a good way to really kind of establish Gacy's stable and things like that. Because now that we don't have Legato anymore, you need something, not saying you need a carbon copy of Legato, but you really need something that's got a little bit more teeth into it. More so than what you would see with Tony D'Angelo.
Yeah. And even D'Angelo's down to a tag team.
Yeah.
He was really looking like a force for a minute. Now he's just a tag team. So
Yeah. Now you're just like you guys selling pizza with a little lackey. Yeah.
yeah,
You're not
uh,
a Don anymore. I don't know what you are.
that's true. He doesn't come off like he's in charge of stuff like he used to. Nikita Lyons
Mm-mm.
and Zoe Stark against Keanu James and Ariana Grace. I thought the match was good.
Yeah. Yeah. I just am thinking, is that what they're going to be really kind of pushing for Zoe Stark and Nikita Lyons? Is the
That's what I was
tag?
thinking. Yeah, I feel like that's what
Because
they're
it's
doing.
kind of it's kind of sad, especially with
Yeah,
Zoe Stark. But I mean, if that's what they're doing, then that's what they're doing.
that was my
You know?
takeaway too. Is that it was all good, but it made me also bummed out for Zoe. Where I was like, Zoe's just going to be latched onto this tag team now, I guess, for a while.
Yeah.
Because I did wonder what was going to happen. They were cutting those promos, and they were going to be in the tag tournament, and then the stuff happened, and they couldn't do it. So I was like, well, they're just going to drop the tag team, or are they going to be like, no, we're still. So they're leaning more into the tag team than not. So
Yeah.
at least they have good chemistry together. Because
Yeah.
I don't
If
know,
not,
they're
then that
good.
would be yeah.
Yeah. Let's see. JD McDonough cut that backstage promo on
That was kind of
Breaker.
cool.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Tyler Bate. So now I guess McDonough and Tyler Bate are going to have a match for number one contender, which is kind of wild because they're the last two people to contend for the title. So it's a little interesting to me. Like, we're going to get a rematch either way. Do you want it to be Bate or McDonough?
I kind of, in a way, wanted to be, well, I'm very 50-50 on it,
Mm,
but in a way, I kind of want it to be Bait so he sticks around a little bit more. You know what I mean?
yeah.
Because I don't know what the plans are with some of these people. Because Nako was gone this week. He
Yes.
didn't hear, which was weird to me. So that's where I kind of would rather it be Bait.
Yep. I do think that at the other side of this,
Mm-hmm.
either Braun Breaker or Tyler Bate are going to the main roster.
Probably Braun.
I don't know. I think they're both fine to stay and they're both fine to go when you really break it down.
I don't know. I got the Braun vibes, after the promo package, kind of.
Yeah.
That's where I was getting that. But yeah, that's where it's probably going to go. But
And I think that if one of them's going up, and if it's Braun
mhm,
who's going to go up, then I think maybe you give it to him McDonough and have Tyler Bate chase McDonough.
mhm,
You know what I mean?
yeah,
Although, like you said, you could have Tyler Bate as champion for a year down there and just be his own version of the final boss. And
mhm,
I don't think it would take too much for McDonough to get eventually called up. And if you already have a psychopath like a Joe Gacy, do you also need a McDonough down there being an equal psychopath? Maybe
no,
McDonough's more ready for the main roster than we give him credit for. I don't know.
maybe,
But that Breaker sit down was right then after that too, and I thought that was really good and really cool. And yeah, I thought it was great. Like you said, there was a lot of it that made me think like he's definitely ready for the main roster. But we've been saying that for months.
I know.
So, yeah. What'd you think of Hank Walker and Big Body Javi?
Oh God, I think I kind of like walked away. It was one of those ones that, oh God, why? Right? And I'm like, oh
Mm-hmm.
no, yeah. I already don't like the I don't like Javi's character. I already don't like that. I'm just like,
Yeah.
stupid.
I like
Yeah.
how over Hank was. The crowd was loving
Yes.
Hank. They even had Hank
Yeah.
316 signs.
That was
I
cool.
thought it was great. At one point, he rips his shirt off, and people cheered because he wasn't in very good shape.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Like the
Like, he
common
was-
man.
Yeah.
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 Yeah. I got a lot of those common man type vibes too, and I thought that was cool. So I think this is really cool for Hank. But I was even saying that a couple weeks ago about Javi, that his whole shtick doesn't make a lot of sense to me because he's just clearly not that big. but that I was
No.
really liking what it was doing for Hank. And my thought at the time was that this is going to catapult Hank into something, and it looks like it's doing
Yeah.
that.
Yeah. And it's cool because like Hank, it's like this is like he's like just one of the dudes, you know, he's one of us. So that's where I kind of like that how it's going in that trajectory.
Yep. I'm a
But the
big
match,
Walter
I'm like,
fan.
oh, yeah, I could have done without it.
It was a tough one to think of, like, because there was times where I thought they could have made it shorter. It definitely didn't need to be longer. But then I thought about, like, if you made it shorter, it could undermine. Javi is the trained wrestler. You don't want to undermine the concept of it being difficult to do what he did. But he's also just not the tougher guy.
But also, I would have like because a lot of the video packages were really really good.
Mm-hmm.
I would have liked another one, you know, if that
Yeah,
was a little shorter and got it, you know.
that's true. The Grayson Waller thing backstage was funny. He's really good.
That was the best.
At one point in the back, they had told Wes Lee that he was going to be contending for the North American Championship. Carmelo and Trick beat the snot out of Wes Lee, leave him laying dead in a locker room, moving on, and then on their
I
way towards.
swear,
Go ahead.
Wesley is the fucking goddamn fucking Rodney Dangerfield of
Mm-hmm.
NXT right now. You know, like, you know, no respect. No respect.
Yep.
Poor guy. You lose everything. You know, I don't want to call him the NXT jobber because, you know, he's so much better than that. But damn, dude. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I
Now,
was excited for Wes, and then I was bummed for Wes, and I was like,
yeah.
they're
And
really
especially
pulling the
because
underdog thing.
yeah, especially because when I finally watched it, I already had known because before someone had ruined it. Not you, Marsha, or anybody, but someone on my timeline ruined the fact that who won, who's and knew. And I was like, yeah. And then I'm like, oh, but no. Yeah, I didn't realize I didn't know that Wes was supposed to have the shot. But I get how they did it and why they did it because obviously, you know, the bloodline, you got to think, you know, he was there.
Yeah.
You know, did big things at the castle, you know. So, yeah, because you can't be showing up with nothing at that
I do
table.
wonder that if with Wes Lee, because he was clearly screwed out of this thing, if his whole shtick moving forward is going to be more or less that he's owed something, you know what I mean? Like, that was taken away from him. Does he get a match with Mello and win, or does he go after the North American title, or, you know what I mean? Like, what's next for Wes?
Didn't Gacy come around?
To talk to
Or
Wes?
am I just, yeah, or am
I
I
don't remember that. Maybe.
hallucinating? I might be hallucinating.
That'd be pretty cool.
Yeah.
I'd be into a creepy.
That's another one that would be a victim, quote unquote.
Yeah.
Although I'm still holding out in my heart of hearts that Nash Carter will be back with Trey Miguel. So I'm hoping.
Maybe so. So Carmelo and Trick come out and they're talking their shit, and then all of a sudden the music hits. It's Solo Sikoa. He comes out and he says, "I told you I got next." Punches Mello right in the face, throws Trick out of the ring, and then the match starts. I don't know if you saw Drew McIntyre versus Solo on SmackDown.
No.
It was a little underwhelming. Solo didn't get a whole lot in. He got some good strikes, but not a lot of power moves or anything. So you didn't really get a show off, and a lot of it revolved around the Usos and Sami, and Solo was almost secondary in that match.
Yeah.
This definitely made up for it on the other side. This was awesome, I thought.
Yeah.
What do you think?
You know, if anyone was going to beat Mello, because I had a feeling I've had a feeling that there was not going to be a number 9. And that it was going to move on. And I think because of that showing with Ricochet, that solidified that you're in the wrong place. Obviously, Trick, you still need to kind of dig in the trenches. So that's where I can kind of see maybe there's going to be a program where you're going to see Trick and Wes Lee again and again. So maybe he might have another shot at Mello and he beats Mello finally, and then Mello moves on, you know?
Yeah.
But I don't know. I mean, but I will say that this was something that for me, one, it was a long time coming. Two, um, with Solo Sokoa, it just kind of to me, the light bulb went on and it's like, oh, this all makes sense now. But then part of me was like, well, shit, because that Clash at the Castle, does it mean he's gonna stay up there?
Mm-hmm.
You know? So that's where I'm kind of like questioning a lot of things because there were a lot of people that were up there, you know, and are they staying? Are they coming back? You know, who knows? So that's where I'm at with it. But it was fantastic.
Yeah, I'm wondering if this was also a sign of like I question if they're starting to blur the line between NXT and even at the very end after the match they had that Shawn Michaels
Mhm.
narrated little segment about 2.0 and we're growing and we're changing and everything's always the same ethos more or less and the graphic goes from NXT 2.0 to just a shiny gold and kind of a silvery black look and the 2.0 goes away and a lot of people are like the black and gold is back and I was like or they just shaved off the 2.0 and it's going to be somewhere in between. Like I have a feeling it's probably a little bit more in between than it is just the other one. Although if
That's
you
why
look
you
at
have
that
that silver color. It's like gray.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And if you look at the logo in between the N and the X, the way that they did the gold on there, I swear to God, there's a D. It's DX. I'm telling you. But
Probably
if you look at it,
symbolism is
it's there.
everywhere.
Yep. Uh,
Mhm.
but I think they're going to blur it a little bit more. I think that we may not have a world where Natty just disappears from SmackDown for 2 months and is in NXT fighting Cora Jade, never to talk about it again. You know what I mean? Like, I think we might have something more like the Dolph Ziggler Braun Breaker thing, where Dolph won the NXT championship and now he was on Raw, and then Braun from NXT shows up and takes that championship back. Like, I think with
Yeah.
Solo, I think it's just another step in the idea of like, hey, it's not a different universe, it's not the third brand, but it is a blurred sort of maybe back and forth where it's like,
Yeah.
it is one of our shows, it is our
Mhm.
feeding system but
Mhm.
we have crossovers that matter.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's not going to be like AJ showing up and then Grayson Waller being in the crowd one time and never being talked about again ever. And it's like, okay, what was that? I don't know. Especially with you having like the Dexter Loomis story where he comes in and they didn't want to talk about him. They said he must be some
Mhm.
disgruntled NXT guy. And they were trying to blur that line. I think the idea of
Mhm.
a blurred NXT presence is probably something more along the lines of what we'll be getting. I think it's going to be pretty cool if that's the case.
Mhm.
I don't know about how long they're going to let the NXT North American title be on the main roster, though.
Yeah. Or who would take it from him?
Yeah.
Mhm. That's what I wonder.
Yeah. And I wonder what Sami Zayn's going to do next. I think there's a good chance he
Mhm.
tries to get the 24/7 title or makes his own title. Like, I could see him showing up with his own little shitty constructed belt. I could see Sami Zayn showing up with an old European title.
Mm.
You know what I mean? Like, sort of like how when Hacksaw found the TV championship in the trash can.
Oh
And he's,
yeah.
yeah, and then he was just suddenly the TV champion. I could
Mm-hmm.
see something like that happening with Sammy, where he just like goes around the warehouse and finds an old title that just hasn't been seen or heard from in a long time, and just goes like, "Oh yeah, no, this one's mine. I've been it the whole time. You just must not have known."
Mm.
That's my thought. Really excited for Solo though. I think that it's really awesome for him to come back
Mhm.
and get such a good victory. And I'm
Yeah.
excited to see where it all goes. I'm excited for this new NXT because I don't believe for a second it's going to be black and gold straight up. I think there's going
Mm.
to be much more somewhere in between.
Yeah, I don't feel like, and as someone who, you know, obviously came in toward the end of the black and gold era, it's not. And I think that it's more of, you know, this is this new like hybrid. There's a little bit of everything for everybody. This is what I think if if AEW was handled the correct way, that could be something about that it would be something like what we're going to see with this new NXT. And I'm on board for it. Now, I will say that it did get a couple of my friends who don't watch NXT, don't really watch the WWE product, except for, the occasional pay-per-view here and there. They're really interested in it. And they were like, oh yeah, black and gold. That's why I'm like, no. It's not going to be black and gold again. Because the indies are kind of tapped out right now. They've been tapped out. Because if there were people that they were going to sign, they would have already done it. The ones that are still around.
Yeah.
So, and, they haven't. The only people who are getting signed are WWE releases somebody, AEW picks them up.
Yeah.
So I'm waiting for some of these AEW people when their contracts are ending or they just they're not on TV anymore, them to all of a sudden look and see, are they going to, what are they going to do? Are they going to, are they going to snatch people up or what's going on? Like a Starks or a Hobbs or a, those kinds of people. But who knows? Yeah. Shall be interesting.
Yep. I don't know. I guess we'll see. We will see.
Yeah.
I'm excited for it.
Congrats, Mr. Spectacular.
Yeah, I don't have the whole thing up, but there's some TV show that Mr. Spectacular is a part of now. Some relaunch thing. I don't know what it is, but it's supposed to be pretty
Wasn't
cool.
he on like Big Brother, like Luchasaurus was?
That might be right. He might have been on Big Brother.
Yeah, I think so. Because the only other wrestler that I know that was on a reality show besides The Miz was Johnny Survivor, also known as John Morrison, also known as Johnny Mundo. Johnny, insert your name. Johnny Elite. Yeah, whatever. My mom just discovered him on the episode. She goes, oh, there's a wrestler on here. And I go, oh, are you talking about John? I'm like, yeah. I go, I know him. I've always been wanting to ask him, though, about his Survivor time. Because it was interesting to me. But anyways, this is a totally different topic, but whatever.
All right, we'll see how it all plays out. Next week, we're getting the old Ash Arch Stadium. I don't know. It's New York. AEW.
Yeah.
Again. Champion.
East Coast.
Yep. When's our next pay-per-view? I feel like we got pay-per-views coming up. I have no idea.
They do all the special shows.
That's probably.
I can't even remember if there's anything that they do.
Yeah.
I don't know.
And I feel like a lot of the booking feels week to week right now because I feel like there's a lot up in the air. So some suspensions have already been lifted, some are not. So we'll see.
Who's been lifted?
Some of the producers. The producers, Christopher Daniels, Nakazawa, Pat Buck, I think one other person. They're all back.
If you tell me Ace Steel, I'm going to be pissed.
No, I think Ace Steel was never an employee there, which is a whole other thing. But I don't know.
What?
We'll be back next week right here in the dive bar of the IWC. Because I believe that the women's PW 500 or 150 or whatever they do has got to be coming out. And we'll have to break that down a little bit, have some fun with it, see where everybody lies. Outside of that, guys, you ready for last call?
Yep.
Thank you guys for coming through, being our drinking buddies and having a drink with us. We'll be back next week. That's last call.
Cheers.
Introduce a lady or buy us a drink by following and putting the I in subscribe on Twitch, or subscribe and review our podcast on Apple Podcasts or wherever you listen to us. Cheers!
I would never have a drink with wrestling on the rocks.